Welcome to our TV3 Vikings Training Camp Special Edition here. I'm standing here with Trevor Seaman. I'm Jake Judd. Trevor, we got to spend a few days down at Vikings Training Camp, and we got to see a lot of great things that went on down there. And we're going to bring some of that to the TV3 audience here over this next week. One of the key people that we were able to catch up with while we were down there in Vikings Training Camp was a Vikings insider. We're here with Vikings.com's Mike Wobshaw. Mike, you know, you've been at a number of these Viking training camps. You're looking at right now this football team out here. It's very early on, but what can you say so far about this year's Viking squad at our training camp? New regime in here. How would you compare this to some years past?
Well, the one thing about this year's team that we have going on right now is a lot of change. I mean, it starts with the head coach, Mike Zimmer, and both of his coordinators on offense and defense are new, and the players are new. If you look at this time last year at training camp and you charted out the Vikings starting defense, and then you do that this year, this Vikings starting defense, there's only 3 players that are the same. So there's a lot of change, and it starts at the top with the head coach and then goes all the way down through the players. So, you know, the NFL, that's kind of one of its strengths, is it changes a lot, and that's what keeps teams competitive year in and year out, and that's what keeps fans engaged as much as they are. And that's really being illustrated here at 2014 Vikings training camp. There's a lot of change, and for a team that's coming off a 5-win season, a lot of change is a good thing.
And you mentioned a lot of change. Another thing I noticed when you look at the roster, very, very young roster. One of the young men that we're covering, obviously, is Adam Thielen. He's from Detroit Lakes. I've heard a lot of hype around him. Tell me, what's your impression of the young man?
Well, the one thing I say about Adam, whether it's in my writing or on Twitter, I mean, every single day he makes a wow catch, I like to call it. I mean, and it's without fail. He makes some kind of acrobatic, unbelievable catch, and that's the kind of thing that keeps a young guy like him around, even though a team is bringing back its top 4 receivers from last year, which the Vikings are doing this season. So Adam Thielen has more than just a chance. I mean, he's right up there right now for a roster spot, and I thought he was close last year to getting his way onto the 53-man roster, and I think he's even closer, if not already there this year. Now, you know, we're only 5 practices, 6 practices into training camp. So there's a long way to go, and he's got to play in the preseason games, and he's got to stay healthy. But I really like Adam a lot. I like him as a guy off the field, and having him around Winter Park has been fun, but I like him on the field. I think he can play outside. I think he can play in the slot. You can play him on special teams. He's the backup personal protector on the punt team. He's a backup returner on the return team.
Good job, Adam. Who are some other of these young players, or maybe some new free agents that come on in that you say, hey, these guys I think are going to be able to contribute to this team, might be new names that Viking fans might want to acquaint themselves with?
Linval Joseph is a guy for me, defensive tackle the Vikings got in free agency from the New York Giants. I think, you know, for a long time, Vikings fans have been missing that Pat Williams type of presence at nose tackle. That's Linval Joseph. He's going to be able to do that for our running game, and it's going to help us against the pass as well, because I think the Vikings are going to perform well on the early downs, put opposing offenses in compromising positions where they're in 3rd and long and have to pass, and that's going to help our pass rush. So I really like Linval Joseph. I think Jerick McKinnon, the rookie running back we drafted this year, I think he can do a lot of things to help a football team too, whether it's on offense or on special teams. But the one thing about McKinnon that I've started to learn here through the first week of camp, he's got some inside running ability that I really like. And he can follow a pulling guard and a fullback up the hole and do just fine. I thought he was kind of a scat back, throw the ball to him out of the backfield, but I think he can run between the tackles as well. So he's another young guy that I think is really starting to come on strong, and I'm anxious to see how he develops over camp.
And Mike, I want to ask you, how can people follow what's going on here at training camp, follow what's going on at the Vikings? What's the best way to do that?
They should go to Vikings.com. We have coverage up every single day from camp, whether it's photos, videos, written stuff, social media accounts at Vikings on Twitter. We have a lot of stuff. It's robust. It keeps moving, and this is one of the best times of the year for content because stuff changes so quickly, and we try our best to keep up with it on Vikings.com.
Mike, thanks so much for your time this afternoon.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Like Mike said, we have a lot of young players and a young team, and with a young team comes growing pains, and with growing pains, we have a young new staff, and with our new staff comes new schemes, Jake.
And some of those new schemes we heard a lot about from some of those players, because it was very obvious from being down there at training camp, they're working on tons of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's adjusting pretty well to the new scheme. Obviously, it's a lot of new stuff what's in the off-season, but it's different when you're out here and get pads on and learn not only learn the scheme, but then trying to get your basic fundamentals back underneath you with the pads and how to use them. And all those things. So I mean, it's going really well. I mean, obviously we have a long ways to go, and so yeah, we just keep working every day.
We're growing together as a team, and defensively we're understanding what we got to do. Everyone's understanding their assignments a little more every day, and we're starting to fly around. We got to build on this each and every day, but we're getting better.
Well, I'm looking at some of the offensive formation. You know, Coach North, he's doing a great job keeping us confused.
I would definitely, we were heavy run game, where I think now we're going to take a lot more stress off of Adrian. He's still going to get a heavy dosage of run, but I think with what North brings to the table, he brings a more balanced offense. He's going to be, pass to open up run to open up pass, and he's going to be more cognizant of that aspect of the game, and instead of just driving home, run, because we're a hard-nosed football team. I think you can still be a physical football team and be able to throw the ball, and that's North's mindset.
Yeah, well, you're gonna rely on the best back in the league, But I think Greg's right, man. That's something that Coach Turner has been harping on. We got a lot of talent here, so I think we're going to utilize that. But at the same time, we got the best back in the league, and we're going to use him too.
He's going to put us in the right positions to succeed, and if you trust the system, you're going to do good things. And it's been fun these first couple of days, and we're excited to get into the games.
And those are just 5 football players for the Minnesota Vikings talking about the number of changes that have been going on just when you see the type of action on the field. Not just the players are changing, but the way they're changing, the way they're playing the game is changing as well. And when we come back here on Lakes TV3 with our special Vikings coverage, we'll check in with Adam Thielen a little later on, a special interview with him. But right after this, we'll talk about the quarterbacks. A new quarterback was drafted in the first round. Some change could be coming there. And, of course, we got to thank our great sponsors that make this broadcast possible. Good luck to Adam Thielen from Foltz Building, and of course Anytime Fitness and Sanford Health and Detroit Lakes Orthopedic Specialists.
They're all very skilled football players. They have big arms, and they're all very driven and focused. And that's what you want as a receiver. Is you want a guy that leads and wants to win and wants to make this team better. But they all three are here to work, and they're here to get better.
That was Detroit Lakes native Adam Thielen down at his second training camp with the Minnesota Vikings in Mankato. And he's catching passes from a brand new first-round draft pick quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. Jake, what did you think of the quarterbacks while we were down there in Mankato?
Well, it was great to see all three of them taking different snaps with different teams. But to me, it's obvious that this is kind of a two-headed race, I think, right now, Trevor. And that really is between Matt Castle, the KG veteran, the guy that re-signed, the guy that we brought in a few years ago to be the veteran backup, and first-round draft pick Teddy Bridgewater, the gentleman that we traded to get back into the first-round draft with that last pick in the first round. It really, to me, seems like Christian Ponder has been relegated to the third-string quarterback, but a quarterback at third string with that much experience, I think is a pretty solid thing. My gut tells me I think Matt Castle will probably be the starting quarterback come week 1, but it's an open competition, and Teddy looks better and better. While we were down there in training camp, I know he had a couple interceptions where they're doing the 2-minute drill, but really besides that, he seemed to play very, very well. And you mentioned Detroit Lakes' own Adam Thielen. It seems like the two of them have developed a little bit of rapport. I'd expect Matt Castle to start during the season, but I would not be shocked if somewhere along the line Teddy Bridgewater does get a chance to be the starting quarterback. Heck, by the time preseason football is done, maybe we'll see something that come week 1, he is the starter, but I'm really, really happy with what I'm seeing so far. I can't remember the last time I've been this ecstatic about the Vikings starting quarterback position in the last few years. It's been a while. We have some optimism there. We've got a reason to smile, I think.
Absolutely. I think the quarterback situation is just it's a position that for us is going to get better as the season goes on. Teddy Bridgewater is the youngest player in the team at 21. And let's face it, he's got some exciting playmakers to work with. He's got Adrian Peterson, of course. He's got young guys at every position. Cordell Patterson's the first guy that comes to mind for me as an exciting kick returner, punt returner. He can catch balls. He's a do-it-all receiver.
There's no ceiling to his potential. There really isn't. If he's willing to put in the time, the potential is there. The athletic, he has everything he needs. It's just really understanding, slowing the defense down to where he doesn't have to think as much. I think sometimes when you're young, you have so much going through your mind when you're on the line, splits, conversion route, coverage. If they give me this, so there's a lot going on. And once you get to the comfort level to where you line up, you see what the defense is doing, and you react, that's when you're playing your freest. And he's starting to mature as a player, as an individual. So his success is going to shoot straight through the roof. I'm excited. I told him this, and maybe it was a little premature, but I told him at some point I'm going to be able to tell my kids I played with Cordell Patterson.
Cordell Patterson at the receiver position, becoming more comfortable with running routes, and he's improving.
Cordell gonna be Cordell. He gonna make plays. Cordell gonna make his play. He'll born and natural playmaker.
A lot of people seem to be very, very anxious to see Cordell Patterson this year. You hear his teammates talking about him, some really, really flattering things. And last year, Cordell Patterson was a rookie, just getting into the NFL, but really, really stepped out, really, really shined, and we're looking for him to take that next step this year. But we've got some other young players, I know, Trevor, that you're looking to make the next step. In fact, that's how you build a team. You got to have the next players, the young players, come up.
Exactly. Mike Zimmer, while we were down there at a press conference, and a couple guys that he mentioned that he's really looking forward to taking that next step and make the team, or take the next step while they're already on the team, but take that next step to being something good on the team, is Jabari Price, a rookie 7th rounder, Rodney Smith, Tiny Richardson, who is not tiny by any stretch of the imagination, and Zach Line. Those are just a few guys that Mike Zimmer said, but I mean, you got guys like Captain Munderland, who's got a young secondary around him, and he's trying his best to mold these guys into being NFL football players. Adrian Peterson's got a young running back, Jerick McKinnon, who he's got underneath his wing. And a guy like Chad Greenway, who's been in the league for a couple seasons now. And we have our first-round draft pick, Anthony Barr, who is an athletic freak, who needs a little help to he's a little raw. I think that's what everyone said. He's raw coming out of college, but he definitely has a shot on this team to really make it.
He's a big guy. He's real big to play safety. We mess with him all the time. I tell him, man, you might well go and play linebacker. But he's a big guy, man, and he's smart too, man. They just got to get their feet under them. And, like I said, the first preseason game will tell it all for these guys, man. They know they got to work, and they just got to continue to get better.
Yeah, Anthony's done great. Been very responsive to all the coaching, and I think he's picking up the scheme really well, and he's obviously physically very gifted. So hopefully he gets to a point mentally where he can just let his physical play just take over, and that's obviously what we're hoping for.
He's doing pretty good, he's learning, he's picking up the offense well. He's learning from me and Matt and the veteran guys on how to be a professional, coming out and making sure you finish and run, just the little things that I continue to see him improve on. So, he's doing well.
I'm coaching him almost every play. I feel like I'm a coach since I was on the sideline, coaching him up every play, telling him some techniques and some things to do, man. I got a lot of experience in that position, so he listened to me, and, hopefully he can get it and, be a good help for the team.
Trevor, there are a lot of guys that are invited to NFL training camps. The Minnesota Vikings have about 90-something guys that they invite down there. Only 53 guys make the actual roster, and a couple that'll make the practice squad, which means a vast majority of these guys don't make the team, and that's especially difficult for late-round draft picks, that 6th, 7th rounder, and those undrafted free agents.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about making an NFL camp, just because you made it there, it's an honor to be invited to a camp. It's an honor to be drafted, but just because you're drafted and just because you were invited does not mean you're going to make it. A pair of guys that we were able to catch up with down there and have a little one-on-one time with were guys like Jabari Price and Tiny Richardson. Jabari was drafted in the 7th round. Tiny was undrafted. One thing that they talk about is trying to make this team and what they're doing to stay in the NFL and keep their professional dreams alive.
I feel like I'm getting better every week. The thing is just accepting coaching. I know that they're going to coach me very hard. I know that they have high expectations for me. And I understand, our expectation as O-line and everything that comes with it. So just learning week by week, day by day, hour by hour from these coaches and these vets how to become a better player, how to become a better pro. I've been able to get, past, in college and in high school, just with raw talent, but just making sure that I'm always keeping a good knee bend, making sure that I'm always delivering a punch in the pass game, not bending over and leaning, because defensive ends in this league could take advantage of that. So really just honing in and making sure that I'm honing in on my craft every day and learning.
It's a blessing, I'm working every day to earn the trust of this coaching staff and the trust of my teammates as well. So, that's definitely my goal every day I wake up. I don't want to get out here and play like a seventh rounder because that's not my mentality. I'm a confident individual and, I'm a playmaker and I want to be that for this defense and for this team, regardless what round, undrafted, Mr. Relevant, first round. I just want to come out and show the staff what I'm capable of doing, and be reliable for my teammates.
Another undrafted rookie last year that made the practice squad is Detroit Lake's own Adam Thielen. He's hoping to make the 53-man roster this year. We'll catch up with Adam Thielen right after this.
TV3's special edition of Vikings Training Camp is brought to you by Foltz Building. They wish Adam Thielen the best of luck throughout training camp. Anytime Fitness. And Sanford Health Detroit Lakes, orthopedics and sports medicine.
Technique is everything, that's how guys fade out in the league because they lose their technique. Technique and master your craft, that takes you the distance. I could be the most physical, the most talented, gifted player out there, but if I don't have any technique, it's not going to get me nowhere. So technique is everything in this game. You just got to become a master of your craft, and once you get that down, and you just keep on building on it, and building on it, and building on it, you just become a great player.
Welcome back to our Lakes TV 3 Vikings Training Camp special program here. I'm here with Trevor Seaman. I'm Jake Judd. And Trevor, when we were down there at Vikings Training Camp, we ran into a guy that his teammates were jokingly calling the Mayor of Mankato, played Division II football at Minnesota State Mankato from small town Minnesota. In fact, from right here in Detroit Lakes, he was a great high school athlete, and he seems to be the star down there in Mankato at training camp this year.
He's a very young, exciting player who, while we were down there, made probably some of the more impressive catches. I think we were down there 2 days, and he had the catch of the day both days. He's a young guy. He's exciting. And as you said, he's from right here in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. So I was very excited to have a chance to meet with him one-on-one.
And he's got everybody talking. Adam, Detroit Lakes native, you're on one of those great state championship golf teams. Fantastic career there at Detroit Lakes. Went on to have a fantastic career there at Mankato State. You're now here at Vikings training camp, your second training camp. I got to ask you right away, do you ever kind of stop and pinch yourself? And can you believe this is really going on? And how can this really get any better right now for you?
There's not much time to think in this profession. We're out here just working every day to try to get better, and we're just out here playing football. So, I love being out here, and nothing's changing, and just having fun and playing football.
All right, and I got to ask you, what are you enjoying most about being out here right now, about this time of your life, and what's been the toughest thing getting ready for the season?
What I enjoy most is just playing football. I've been playing since I was a little boy. I've always wanted to play in the NFL, and I guess the best thing about it is reaching for my goals and hopefully attaining them at one point. But the toughest thing is just staying at it every day. Staying focused and going after that goal. So that's probably the toughest thing, is just staying focused every day.
What's a perk of being an NFL player that maybe no one really knows about?
I guess the perk is just being able to continue and play your dreams. Getting paid to play. That's probably the biggest perk of playing the NFL. Just having fun and doing what you love and getting paid for it.
What would you say, Adam, is the biggest difference between your first camp last year and this camp this year?
Oh, I suppose it's just the experience. I was able to go against the starters every day in practice last year and watch how the starters played and watch how they practice. So, I'm just taking those tools with me this year and that experience.
What did you have to do in the offseason to get you ready for this year? There's been a lot of buzz about you this year coming in. Obviously, second season, that's got to help. But what did you have to do in the offseason to really get ready for it?
I had to prepare like every day was my last day. I had to come out there and get stronger, faster, and bigger, and just go from there.
And what do you look? Who do you look to when you're out here on the football field? Who do you look to maybe help you get better? And in the same token, with the coaching staff here, who you working with out here, and especially with some of the new coaching staff, you got some new wide receiver coaches. You got Cordero Patterson coming over here with you.
This is my guy. That's who I look to right here. He makes me better every day. But no, with the coaches, the new coaching staff, it's been huge. And having receivers in the locker room like those guys, it makes me better every day.
And what routes do you kind of maybe enjoy running right now and have that change from when you were in college and when you were in high school? Have you had to adjust and learn to run new ones, or what's your favorite route to run when you're out here?
Yeah, the playbook in the NFL is a lot bigger, and there's a lot more routes. But, I like the slot stuff and anything where I can use my quickness and my skills to win.
And growing up there in Detroit Lakes playing football, who was your favorite football player to pretend you were in the front yard? We all grew up playing pretending we're someone. For you, who was it?
It was Chris Carter. I remember watching him as a young guy and trying to emulate what he did on the football field. So definitely Chris Carter.
And I got to ask you, what do you have to say to some of your fans back there in Detroit Lakes, or maybe that young kid right now, playing football up there in DL that's got NFL dreams? What do you got to say to them?
You haven't even caught a ball yet. You still doing interviews?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I don't even know what you said. What did you say again?
I would just ask you what you got to say to the young fans there in DL.
Just keep working and if you have goals, no matter what it is, just go after them and do your best and good things will happen.
And I want to ask you one more thing. Who's a better play-by-play man, Andy Leah back there at Detroit Lakes or Paul Allen?
I don't know. It's tough to say. Both are pretty amazing. But Andy Leah, he's hometown guy. He's pretty amazing. He's a good guy. But so is PA. So they're both great guys.
Adam, appreciate your time. Good luck, and look forward to hopefully watching you this year in purple.
All right, appreciate it.
As you can see, Adam Thielen as well liked by his teammates there. They're hazing him a little bit, they're razzing him a little bit, but that's what happens when you're a young guy. And technically, he'd still be a rookie, even though he was on the practice squad last year because, well, as you heard Norv kind of say, he has not yet caught a pass in the NFL. But one of the guys that was messing with him was Blair Walsh, our Pro Bowl kicker, who's been doing this a few years. But a little bit after the hazing was done, Blair Walsh talked about what he does really think about Adam Thielen.
Great guy, great receiver. I think he's got a really good chance to make this team and contribute this year. And I just tease on him because this is his hometown, in his college, I should say. And so I just call him Mr. Mankato, Mayor Mankato, anything. He's catching 5-yard routes and getting a standing ovation from the crowd. So it's pretty ridiculous, but he deserves it.
Well, as you can see, Trevor, Blair Walsh, just like many of the talking heads and other football players down there at Mankato, really feel Adam Thielen's got a great chance to make the team. In fact, I think most people are expecting him to make the team, especially after seeing the first depth chart and seeing that he would be on the 53-man roster if that depth chart does hold throughout all of the preseason.
It's very exciting to see a local kid like that have a real shot at making the team. But while we were down there, we got a chance to actually see firsthand the new staff. And Jake, I don't know about you, but I'm really excited about the new staff.
I think a lot of Vikings fans will be. Mike Zimmer, of course, the new head coach, longtime coach in the NFL, started as a D-backs coach, was a D-backs coach in some of the Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys team, has coached also as a defensive coordinator for a number of years and in Cincinnati. And it's exciting to see him here. And I think a lot of people like what they're seeing because it looks like we have a teacher out there on the football field actually working one-on-one with the players, and I think that's something we haven't seen. It's almost like watching a high school coach out there showing kids how to play from the start up, and it's nice to see even in the pros that technique, fundamentals, and form are still important to Mike Zimmer.
Yeah, the optimism around camp that we see today, that we saw this past week, is higher than I've been around in a long time. So, I mean, I think seeing North Turner and Mike Zimmer out there, over 60 years of experience between the two, actually teaching our guys to play the right way, something that we might not have had the past couple years.
And not only does it seem like they talk the right talk, they seem like they walk the walk as well. And that was very evident by seeing the one-on-one reaction between the players and the coach. And it also seems like a lot of the football players respect the coach. And that's always a problem sometimes when you have a more heavy-handed coach, one that wants to be more of a teacher, more of, a man's type of a coach as opposed to a player's type of a coach. Sometimes that can rough the team the wrong way. Early on in Vikings training camp, it seems like it's nothing but love for him right now.
I think the players have the utmost respect for him, and I really think that Mike Zimmer has an iron grip on that team. I think they would jump off a bridge for him. I really think that they would go through any brick wall for that man. And I think just watching the players react to him, he's out there cussing, he's out there calling them names, but they took it in stride. It was all constructive criticism from him to the players. He wants them to get better just as much as he wants to win ball games. He knows that he has a team that can win ball games for him, and I really think that he's doing the best he can to get us some wins this year. And I think it's good to see.
All Vikings fans are going to have expectations. I don't know what yours are. Mine are much higher this year than they were last year. But the important thing is optimism and renewed excitement for the football team. And I know Coach Zimmer is very optimistic about the season as well.
We're just trying to get better each and every day. We're trying to make this football team tough, physical, smart. We want to make sure that we don't make mistakes. We don't beat ourselves. We want to play real hard, and like I've said a million times, I'm gonna keep saying it to our football team. I want our fans, when they watch us play on Sundays, when they turn the TV off or they leave the stadium, they say, wow, I can't wait to watch these guys next week. They play real hard, they play with a passion, they do things right, they play the game the right way. So that's really, we're just trying to get better each and every day.
TV3's special edition of Vikings Training Camp is brought to you by Foltz Building. They wish Adam Thielen the best of luck throughout training camp. Anytime Fitness. And Sanford Health Detroit Lakes, Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.